We continue with our second APAC Health Tech Innovation Conclave. We had a very fruitful inaugural session in the morning where senior policymakers discussed on different aspects on technology and innovation in healthcare. And now, to continue with the session, we have a power packed panel discussion. And it's my pleasure to introduce the panelists and the moderator for this session. The session typically will deliberate on the role of digital infrastructure in reshaping healthcare. And as we have seen over the last 1.5 years during the pandemic, the this role of digital infrastructure in delivering health remotely, telehealth, has increased manifold. What this has literally translated into, that digital infrastructure needs to be scalable, needs to be seamlessly available, and obviously, as it's in talking about health aspect, it needs to be safe as well. For this Power Pact panel discussion today, I would like to first introduce the panelists, the eminent panelists who are going to be in the session. It's my pleasure to first introduce Dr. Avinash Nanivedekar. He is the Cluster CEO, Diagnostics and New Initiatives in Kerala Institute of Medical Sciences, KIMS Health from Trivandrum. Welcome, Dr. Avinash.
Thank you.
We would like to welcome Mitali Biswas, CIO of CK Birla Hospitals, to the panel. Welcome, Mitali.
Thank you.
We would like to welcome Nilesh Shinde, the CTO of Jupiter Hospitals. Welcome, Nilesh.
Thank you.
We would like to welcome Anurup Singhal. He's a cluster IT lead North for Fortis Healthcare. Welcome, Anurup, to the panel.
Thank you, Rajneesh.
We'd also like to welcome Manish Pathak, Head IT and Automation at Sahara Hospitals, to the panel.
Thank you so
And
much.
last but not the least, I would like to introduce Amit Sharma, Group Head Strategy and IT at SiteCare Cancer Hospitals, who will be moderating the panel discussion today. And the panelists will deliberate on the underlying IT infrastructure behind digital healthcare of tomorrow. Without any further ado, I would like to hand it over to Amit to take the discussion forward. Over to you, Amit. Thank you.
Thanks, Rajneesh. And as you rightly said, it's a power pack panel. In fact, really privileged to be in the company of some of the eminent stalwarts like Dr. Avinash, who has wide experience not only in clinical but also in planning the entire digital strategy for a group. And then now he's doing some exciting work in the space of digital diagnostics. Mitali, who has wide experience of working in an international organization, more in IT consulting and planning of the group strategy. And now she's also managing a very renowned hospital, the entire IT part. Just not wasting time, probably I will start and set some of the context for our discussion. And what I'm thinking is, let's try and kind of discuss and deliberate on the moot point of discussion, which is about the infrastructure or role of digital infrastructure in reshaping the healthcare more so from an innovation standpoint. And before we kind of move to the role of the infrastructure, I think it would be very valid just to get probably a minute or two from each of the eminent panelists on their view of what they consider this particular digital reshaping or the digital wave which is kind of hitting or which has hit the hospitals in the last couple of years. Because we have all been working in and utilizing some of the part and parcel of the IT. But now I think the boundaries are kind of blurring And as we were kind of discussing earlier also, I mean, digital is not only one area that we are talking about. So maybe to start with, let's start with Dr. Avinash and listen to him about his view on this entire digital in healthcare. And then maybe one after the other, people can add on or share their view of this entire digital in healthcare space. And then we will take it up.
Thank you, Amit. Good afternoon to all of you, and congratulations again to the APAC team to have this forum together for the second year. So, being a doctor and a radiologist, I feel there is a malady which is within the healthcare ecosystem, and I think CIOs and CTOs are trying to change that behavior of hospital thinking. Majority of the C-suite in the hospitals, I feel, have a poverty of understanding what is their digital health quotient, or they lack digital health literacy within themselves. So a hospital, to start the infrastructure, cannot just put in equipments and people. They need to basically start with a simple IT governance strategy that they have, and what is their appetite for investment, and are they having innovation readiness. I think it speaks at a leadership, and then only once you have that kind of core idea is very clear and you have a mission, then perhaps it's much easier to go ahead and make those kind of investments. Unfortunately, I think the whole discussion that we are having today is amongst technocrats, people from the IT sector. There are very few participation coming in from the administrators who basically are going to help adopt and take this forward. So I think the malady and the apathy is budgetary constraint, slow adoption of digital health amongst healthcare administrators and hospitals, and more importantly, the misconception that IT infrastructure doesn't impact patient care. I think it will be a big game changer. It is an enabler. And these are my two bits as opening remarks to this forum. Thank you, Amit.
Quite interesting, Avinash. So, Mitali, just taking it ahead, because I mean, in your earlier roles, you have been part of the organizations which have helped visualize organizations plan their way forward, which include obviously digital and IT usage. And now you are sitting in that hat, or the position where you have to actually execute that. I would just like to listen from you specifically about this digital kind of a poverty or a digital inequality that you had seen probably a few years back, and maybe evident now, that how industry can address this.
Right. So see, the digital has definitely become, very important after the pandemic hit. Before that, the healthcare was, it was a traditional healthcare. People get sick, come to the hospital, go back. Now, personal touch, which was very important for healthcare, that suddenly became a risk. So, all these remote things came up, teleconsulting, telemedicine, remote patient monitoring, all of that. And that can be enabled only with the help of technology. Okay. Now, India being a country, where 80% of our population is rural, they don't have access to technology. They are socially not advanced. Even, people who are in urban, to take an example, if I take example of my parents, they are not tech savvy. So even if they want to, take the services with the help of technology, they are constrained. So digital inequality, definitely, it will play a big role if we don't. So other than, reskilling or upskilling, whatever we call, the hospital staff, it is also important to raise that awareness among, the general masses or the general population. The percentage who are tech savvy and can avail these services is, very small. To give you an example, when we started teleconsulting in our hospitals, lot of, complaints from the patients not able to, correctly connect, bandwidth issues, not very savvy in terms of how to open the prescription. So it is a challenge, other than the challenges that the hospitals are facing, to be able to take those services to a bigger masses. I think something definitely needs to be done. And I think the government has to also pitch in, getting connectivity to the rural areas, maybe some awareness sessions. So those things need to be taken up to make this, proper and get services to more and more people.
Thanks, I think helpful. So, Nilesh, given your background in biomedical engineering and in your earlier career, you have worked in some of these healthcare providers companies. I mean, the health tech companies like Siemens and GE, and now you're managing a group of hospital. Just your view, maybe to start with, on some of the challenges which is associated with this digital infrastructure that we are talking about.
Okay, so good afternoon to all panelists. COVID-19 pandemic taught us a lot of things. Everyone has understood that in the healthcare sector also, there are a lot of challenges and opportunities are there in basically digital innovation or transformation. Now, when we say digital innovation or smart hospital, it has to start from the top management up to bottom. So when we are saying that, like in greenfield projects, like when we do greenfield projects, then that time we do that. There is a costing we always consider for land, MEP, then interiors, then civil, medical equipment, where we are spending crores of rupees on medical equipments. But always IT setup, always take a backstage. And now, maybe due to this corona pandemic, now everyone understood the importance of this digital transformation which is going to happen. So it is not only into IT setup, but we have to consider from the all the angle. When I'm saying all the angles, it is like from the construction of the hospital. Now we need to consider a energy efficient hospital where we have to use digital gadget to make sure that we could able to control humidity as well as the temperature in various areas of ICUs OT. Because if you see that this digital automation always gives us a very good chance to save energy. Because if you see that in any hospital, the HVAC consumes around 50% of the energy consumed, which is throughout the month. So out of that, 50% is consumed by HVAC component. So this digital automation will definitely help in that setup also. Along with that, when we are saying that digital structure, now currently what has happened is that we are talking about different types of servers. Then we should have a good bandwidth because that is very, very important. Now we are talking about automation in lab equipments. Then we are talking about automation AI. But for that, what is important is that the mindset that everyone has to think in one direction, that yes, it is doable and we can move into digital era. And if that thing come from the top of the management to bottom, the things will improve and we will get a proper data infrastructure. When we are saying infrastructure, one thing is also important. We should know that whatever data we is having, how to take the backup management of that data, and how we are going to do the disaster management. Because now we are totally dependent on server, because everyone still there is cloud is not affordable solution for everyone. So we are basically doing the server storage at various locations. So those server storage, whichever is there, the backup and disaster management management for that also we need to consider very seriously, so that in future we will really able to do the digital innovation throughout the hospital.
Thanks, Nilesh. There are a couple of pertinent points that you have raised, and I'll probably come back to all the panelists and discuss about it. But just to continue at least interacting and seeking a view. So, Anurup, since you are part of one of the organizations which have also grown inorganically, which includes either having working together with some of the hospital or acquiring some of the assets, and that one of the challenge is obviously management of the infrastructure associated with such brownfield projects. That sometimes is not easy. So now in the current context where the expectation is for all the group hospitals to be kind of integrating seamlessly, which obviously it depends on the kind of infrastructure. So I would just like to listen from you the challenges associated with such scenarios.
Thank you, Amit. Good afternoon, everyone. For me, if we could talk about digital pandemic, everything, healthcare provider from the beginning is, if I say small scale hospital is governed by a clinical team. It's a one man army. where they're focusing on the clinical part. They are not focusing the IT part. For them, there's a budget is clinical budget and an ancillary budget. And when I talk about a mid-scale hospital, the CFO want to have an ROI. They want to have a how much I got a return on the investment. They said no. IT is a cost. They are not understanding the digital part. They said if I buy an MRI machine, if I go for a robotic, if I go for a CT machine, I will earn this much of amount. But we will not able to consider the digital part. Like, for them, IT is again a cost part. If I say about basic infrastructure, if you say a network bandwidth, everything Nilesh has said everything in the cloud. People are going for hybrid model, like sometime in a local storage, sometime in a hybrid clouds, local storage, cloud storage, some data in the local, some data in the cloud. However, if I say my bandwidth is not up to mark. Mitari told like when she was doing a telemedicine, the basic concern was there is a fluctuating patient was not able to get a bandwidth. It may be a patient end issue, it may be an issue at our end, it's a hospital end. Increasing a bandwidth probably will not work because my passive, I was working in Cat 5 cables. I think the basic structure, infrastructure need to be changed. And now after during a pandemic, the manager understand that house need to be set before we talk about a digital part. A house, it's a basic a cloud, network bandwidth, latencies. I can say Nilesh had mentioned about a disaster recovery. If my one line goes down, how the second line can come up. If my other user is using a webinar, for example, this time I'm using a webinar, and my other data might be get affected because of high bandwidth consumption. How do I manage that part? That's a basic structure which we need to work it out. Yeah.
Thanks. Manish, given your interesting background in terms of working on the development of the systems, and now moving into the user side of it, I'm sure. I mean, you have worked on some of the system which we are using now. I mean, you have been part of the development cycle. Now, when we are talking of a digital revolution or a digital probably upskilling, so there must be some of the interesting things which would be happening in the developer side of the development community. What's your probably input on that aspect before we kind of open the panel and deliberate more on the infrastructure part?
Thank you so much and good afternoon, everybody. Basically, in last few months, I have discussed with many of my friends. They are actually associated with healthcare industry, and just simply I have asked everybody that how you have managed during COVID time, how you have approached during COVID, and see, everybody has concluded that we should have some kind of ready to use system where we can just implement during the pandemic any situation. And we were just discussing how we can upgrade our infrastructure and how we can just scale our infrastructure and match with our old infrastructure with the new infrastructure. And see, I will take simple example. At the pandemic time, we were facing some kind of issues with the technology. We had to provide a separate unit. We had to provide a separate block for a COVID patient treatment. And at that time, the procurement definitely took a lot of time to happening for a digital infrastructure. So normally. We should have some kind of ready to use material or ready to use system where we will have to just provide some kind of solution where any user can adopt or absorb technology very easily, and it can be only possible with the help of reshaping our infrastructure, reshaping our culture, reshaping our staff, training, skills improvement. That is, I think it is important for upgrading our infrastructure in a digital segment.
No, very very pertinent point, Manish. I think in all of us who are working in the hospital segment, and we probably at least in last couple of years we would have interacted with multiple vendors who are trying to push their own solutions. But the question is, means what do I do with a solution which is operating in silo? Pertinent thing. Avinash, interestingly, in my conversation with you, I mean, you raised a very important question in terms of the decision makers when you are planning for the entire strategy for a hospital, I mean, either for a single or a group. But unfortunately, I clearly remember you mentioning that the key decision makers mostly are CEO, CFO, or sometimes the CIO. But the end user community in the operation, the clinicians, and sometimes some of the nurses areas, I mean, they are virtually not even part of this decision making process, or even they are not even thought about it. Your view in terms of challenges related to this digital disruption which you are looking in healthcare. It will be interesting to hear your view on that.
So I think this is the digital journey of any organization has to be driven top down. But there has to be a very big inclusiveness of understanding your workforce, your capability, and what are you driving. The thing is, the pandemic kind of created even more. It was like the pandemic was there not to enable, but also to help us understand where do we stand. And then everyone has woken up. The government has woken up. The IT industry has woken up. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry today thinks they can do the digital health in their own perspective. But we are only looking at one small point here. We are all talking about telehealth. I feel telehealth is just one 10% opportunity. There are a lot of other things. The first important thing would be, like I said, is data. Is our hospital mature enough that our data gathering is secure? We talk about EMR, EHR. I think it starts from there itself. So there is a combined approach. There has to be a vision. There has to be a budget. The ROIs don't come out of digital health because it's not something like a CT scan and an MRI machine. The ROIs will be reflected in your quality system. The ROI will be reflected in your footfalls and, of course, larger market share and mind share. The thing is, you are looking at who is the end value chain. We are all looking at patients as our end user. I think digital health first has to be within our work store. How agile is our workforce? How digitally savvy is our workforce? Are they having the infrastructure capabilities of having desktop, tablets, bring your own device opportunity? And whether we have something like an innovative collaboration culture within our workforce. You cannot have only the CIO, CTO struggling with radiologists and laboratory specialists and missing out on the clinical context. So I think you need to understand exploring digital quotient of a hospital starts with individual heads of departments, right from finance to radiology to medicine to critical care, to explore their own digital quotient. Where am I today? Am I digitally savvy, or am I digitally aware, or am I digitally ignorant? And how can the CIO, CTO help me to come to that level? What are the other opportunities in my own department as an ICU or radiology which have digital enablers where I have done something digital or where I have failed? And maybe these kind of exercises take about a couple of months, but then overall the landscaping or the opportunity within the organization can be scaled. And then we can take the small steps. Okay, I will digitalize radiology. Maybe I will digitalize telehealth. Maybe I will digitalize pharmacy. Or maybe I will digitalize opportunity in nursing, or it could be an HR where I can have a digital learning management system. That also is a journey towards digital. Why do we think digital health only means AI, ML, and telehealth? I think we need to look at a broader scope.
Oh, interesting. Now, since you've kind of dwelled on the importance of involving the end users' digital skills in terms of not only planning but also on the successful execution of a digital strategy of an organization. So coming to Mitali, since she had wide experience of working in IBM, I wanted to understand from her perspective. You would have interacted with multiple stakeholders, and you understand, being a CIO of a hospital also, the reality in terms of the standards of the digital skills or even basic skills. So I really feel that there has to be a rethinking in terms of the entire hiring strategy per se. I mean, to be honest, in the words of Anirudh, I mean, probably when you are hiring a nurse, the first basic the question should be asked is how comfortable they are on smart devices per se. But maybe a little bit more your thoughts in terms of these challenges associated with reskilling and the entire recruitment strategy that an organization should think about in this perspective.
Correct. So, I believe any solution that you implement, it's a combination of technology, process, and people, right? And in this, this whole digital revolution, we already focus on the technology. And I keep telling my management, technology probably is the easiest part of the puzzle. I mean, it is the easiest part to get the technology in place, but the toughest part is to get it implemented and executed and adopted, where people and process also, play a key role. Now, the challenge, that I face is whenever we take up any project, it is considered as a IT project, which is very wrong. Be it any system, it's not an IT project. It is not my project. It is the project of the business. I am only enabling it. But that's a misconception. Any project you implement, I think I see my other panelists nodding their heads. It's the same everywhere. It's an IT project. You are the owner. You have to implement it. Now, the business requirements are very key. You go and ask a user, what do you want? You will get a two-liner. They are not, again, educated enough to give you the clear business requirements because they don't know what technology can do, what the end product could be. So you don't get those requirements. You implement based on whatever you have got and based on your experience. And when you go with the finished product, not much of involvement either in the user acceptance testing, because we also have to understand the hospitals are always firefighting, right? I mean, the operational teams are always firefighting. So bandwidth is always a constraint. Plus, they are not digitally skilled, as you very rightly said, to give inputs there. But when you take the finished product, they will say, oh, this is not what we needed. But still, it is not clear what you need, right? So the organizations definitely need to put in a lot of effort in terms of the skills that, they are hiring. The HR needs to understand the long-term vision. That is very important. As Dr. Avinash said, we are looking at it in bits and pieces, which doesn't help. You have to, just because everybody is on the digital bandwagon, we are also on there. We need this remote monitoring, we need this home care, we need telehealth, and we're doing it in bits and pieces. So first, I think the hospital as a whole should have a long-term vision, a business vision on where do we want to reach, what is all that we want to do in terms of business, and technology will just be an enabler to it. And once you have that clear, then you have a hiring strategy, and everything cannot be hired. You also need to have plans to kind of educate or upskill or reskill your existing workforce, be it the nurses, be it the technicians. They also need to be aware what all technology can do, how you should use the system. We keep talking about AI, ML, but if we are not capturing the data in the right way, we don't get any insights. So other than also hiring, I think a lot of focus needs to be there on upskilling my existing, and it has to be periodic. It's not a one-time thing that one day I train everybody and it's done. It doesn't happen that way. So there has to be a proper training curriculum which the HR needs to work with the business and the technology team to kind of make sure that the team is skilled enough to use those solutions that the technology team is bringing, and then provide better healthcare services.
A very, very valid point. In fact, I happen to tell every time, as you rightly mentioned, to the stakeholders, the ops, the clinical, the nursing team, that IT is a facilitator. I mean, in terms of any new solution being rolled out, the moment the expectation is that if IT start training each and everyone, I mean, we are not a training department, and it doesn't work that way. I mean, ultimately, they have to be a kind of a collaborative effort in terms of upskilling everyone. So, a very valid point. Now, Nilesh, since you wear a hat of CTO, so I'm sure you will be facing some of those difficult dilemmas and decisions in terms of budgetary empathy associated with the infrastructure being upgraded. I think all of us agree that asking or having a wish list in terms of everything working on a digital or paperless or filmless is easier said and done, but everything demands or requires not only the infrastructure but also a budget. So just wanted to understand from you, since you have been part of the same organization for so long, how have you moved such challenges or faced such challenges, and do you think that these things will stabilize now, or do you expect these challenges to grow more in this current context? Nilesh, you are on mute, I think.
I'm part of Jupiter Group from 2004. So I was involved into planning and execution of our all three hospitals. And I realized maybe after down the line, after 15 years for Thane, the digital infrastructure, when we are talking about innovation, but the hardware as well as active and passive components, what we have used that time, I'm talking about 2005-6, that may not be a right thing right now to continue with that, because with digital innovation, what we are talking about, there is a lot of data is available. It's ample of data is available. Now, there are couple of things are very, very important. How you are going to save that data, what are the servers you are going to use, whether you are going to use clouds for that, what is your disaster management. So everything requires a budget, cost. That is always cost will be there, something around in the range of 60 lakhs to 1 crore. But what happens normally that when it comes to that, till maybe I can say till 2019, it was always like first preference is to start any new department, go for new medical equipment, because as a biomedical engineer, I understand that if it brings some new equipment, I can start the new some department, we can invest that much and we can start the revenue, because that is always there in the back of the mind. But after 2020, after this COVID pandemic, the importance of digital automation has come in all the top management also. Okay, so first thing is that very, very important that whatever HIS what we are using, okay, that HIS should be in such a way that anyone can able to learn that software very fast, because we as an IT person we cannot do training continuously, because if you say that the nursing outflow is maybe much faster than anyone else, and nursing department is going to play important role in any of the success of the any digital innovation. So now what are things are important is that other than that means, as I told you, now technical expertise, if I ask or tell you technical expertise, now maintenance staff, okay, we are talking about digital innovation, there are digital innovation we can do in maintenance also, like we can able to have a building management system, we can have a good fire alarm system which will be controlled by digital way. But now to understand that or to learn that process, the maintenance team means we have to hire people who can at least aware about basic knowledge about the computer, so that they can able to handle this system, because then it is of use to have a good BMS system or good fire alarm system where our maintenance team, in-house maintenance team can able to handle that. Now, similarly, from biomedical point of view, if you see that the curriculum doesn't teach about networking, packs, virtual navigation. So all these things now, with the due course of time, is going to play important role, and that is the reason biomedical engineer also from the hospital has to get acquainted to all these things, networking, basic networking knowledge. They should have packs, how to transfer images from one modality to other modality. That's also they should be able to do that. Now, from IT administration point of view, we should have a just for namesake some person who is good in laptop and maybe printer PC. That cannot be enough for now to IT infrastructure. We should have a good administrator who should know that how to handle server, how to do the backup management, and in case of any disaster, how to take care of all the data. So all these things are very, very important. When we are saying that IOMT and internal medical things, but what happens that currently whether our hardware support is there for nursing staff, because nursing staff, because you know that for accreditation, lot of things nursing staff has to write throughout the day. Now, if they miss something, there is someone is going to ask the question to them, the why that clinical data has been missed. Now, if you want to get all the digital data clinically on some server, still whatever the cost which is available in market for that type of solution is still not affordable for each and everyone. Now, what is happening is that there is someone who are doing HIS, someone are doing LIS, someone are doing PACS. So all these things has to get integrated with each other, and we should able to see on the one screen, which is still not happening. All the softwares vendor are not able to give that proper solution, and which is cost effective also. So unless and until all these solutions are available, nursing staff will also not able to get that proper support from the technology point of view. Now, if you see that clinical practitioner, now Dr. Avinash will definitely will agree on that. When earlier they used to do the radiology reporting, they used to do maybe typing something or some medical transcription is, but nowadays with the help of voice recognition software, definitely we can save time both in radiology reporting also, as well as we can do in the discharge summary also. Similar thing we can do it in TPA also, that when you have to settle the claim or insurance, if we are having good Wi-Fi system throughout the across the hospital, maybe at the patient bedside only, the team can able to scan that all the papers which are the documents where the anesthesia note, doctor notes, everything they can scan and send it to TPA, and that can save time for releasing that patient. So all these things are going to be there, which is possible to do in digital innovation. Only thing, our mindset should be there. Now we have to invest. There is no other option to move ahead, and we have to become a smart hospital.
Thanks, Nilesh. So, Anurup, now given that you manage a kind of a cluster of one of the established hospital out there, and the kind of point that Vitali just mentioned in terms of some of the newer solutions which have to be implemented. Sometimes it requires an intervention not only in terms of process enhancement but also the infrastructure enhancement. So just wanted to understand from you some of the pain points, some of the problems which are associated with the infrastructure enhancement helping in this new digital strategy in an existing hospital, because building a new hospital is much easy in that step. But for continuing in an existing setup like yours, and you would have faced it multiple times in the last few years. Just wanted to understand your viewpoint.
So, Amit, Nilesh and Mitali correctly pointed out. Nilesh had mentioned that he is associated with Jupiter Hospital for quite a long time. It's a greenfield project. When I asked for a digitalization over there, digital requires basic infrastructure. A basic infrastructure means my base should be set. And when I asked, the current hospital where I'm working is 14-year-old hospital, not 14 but 20 years old hospital. I don't have passive networking. It supports a Cat5 cable. It should be Cat6. It cannot change in a one day. That require a planning. That require a budget. When I ask for a budget, the major focus, like the Nilesh had mentioned, the major focus should be on a new department, on the new equipment or a new facility to be started. The reason, it could be a basic reason, the ROI. When I said ROI, the other reason is the hospital PAT. Like the hospital is running a 5%, 6% PAT. If I ask for a 1%, the profitability gets reduced. We need to see how does we see that part. I also want to mention, Amit, I was reading an article over there. If my hospital is a NABL or NABH hospital, I got some kind of increase in a government rate. It has never happened in a government strategy. If I am an EHR or EMR implementation, my rate get increased this much. If there is a carrot, then there is a hospital management will change the infrastructure part. They will give a budget. The other part is a mindset. When I asked for a digitalization, a few of the users said our job is in danger. I recall my mother is in a government job, was in a government job. When the computer gets started, there was a worried, oh, I may lose the job. The same part is happening with the digitalization. The people are thinking about our job is in a toss. So we need to change that mindset also. The other part is a milestone, last milestone. One of the hospitals is in a extreme in a Pakistan border near to Pakistan where there is no bandwidth available. The bandwidth is at the peak. We need to see a help that part also, how the end user bandwidth can be utilized.
Yeah, sure. No, helpful. Manish, many of us are actually based in some of the bigger metro cities, or at least the cities which are more in the IT, so-called IT corridors of the country. But you from what I understand, you operate in the main Hindi heartland, say for example something like in UP, and managing the IT setup out there. As Anurup mentioned, Nilesh also mentioned. what is the real challenge that you feel basically in terms of upgrading this infrastructure, which also includes the bandwidth, but also some of the skill sets which are required for you to manage these kind of setups in some of the interior hinterlands of the country? Because when we talk of digital, the boundaries blur. I mean, once you claim to be a digital hospital, you are expected to be accessible for everyone, and that requires, obviously, I mean, there is no kind of a graded infrastructure that works in this scenario.
Great. Basically, when I talk about my infrastructure, we are from last 10 years. We have a set of hardware system here. We cannot basically replace until and unless it is not irreparable, or basically until and unless it
Dies its own death.
management doesn't give us any kind of budget to scrap any hardware until unless it is not stopped. So we have a very old system. We have a already we are outdated from a newer technology. We are outdated from upgradation part. And many times we have approach directly to management that we should this is the time we should upgrade our infrastructure, and this is a crucial time where we can just digitize our infrastructure to provide better facility to the patient. But the difficulty basically we are facing in UP, or we are facing in healthcare, is the complete budget on IT ROI. When we talk about the uh, functionality improvement, maybe when we talk about the technology implementation or upgradation, every time CFO asks some kind of budget on in a phase wise manner. So normally in UP we have a lot of challenges with clinical side also. I'll just give you a simple example that we are only at EMR adoption is only 40 to 60% in our hospital, frankly speaking. And the reason is that because it is not that a doctor doesn't want to use that EMR module, but they don't want to write everything in the module HIS, basically in EMR. They need operator to enter everything in a EMR module. So normally they want everything with some kind of technology where uh, EMR prescription, EMR patient file, EMR case study, they want everything automated in HIS basically. So normally these are the challenges with current technology we are facing. Completely we are not on HIS. Some sort of challenges with nurse side also. They have some NABH compliances. They have to write papers also. So we cannot say that we are completely paperless hospital. We have to maintain paper also. Some kind of contradiction with the NABH compliances, some kind of digital challenges also. So many times when we approach to higher authority or higher management to digitize everything with computerized manner, they always contradict with some kind of compliances with the government, with the health state government. So these kind of things that we cannot say that everything is computerized, everything is on a digital platform. So these are the challenges with government contradiction. We are also facing some kind of medical legal aspect also. So that's why my point of view that we cannot completely digitize our infrastructure with computerized section.
No, interesting point. I mean, that goes back to the point which Avinash has made earlier. I mean, it's a kind of a budget empathy, because the expectation is to get into the total kind of a paperless or a digital mode, but then the budgetary constraints are there. So I'm sure. I mean, we all have faced it, and we all know. But Avinash, given your kind of experience of of being from the clinical side and also on the administrative side, apart from managing IT. I mean, you are in one of the best suited positions to share some light on, as you rightly said, that digital is not only IT, digital is not only probably automation, it's a mix of everything. And when we're talking of some of these newer technologies or newer solutions, I mean, what is your viewpoint? I mean, will they facilitate in moving towards some sort of a smarter healthcare system, smarter hospitals, some of the technologies which you feel should be taken seriously by hospitals and administrators, and maybe some of the challenges that you feel in this regard? So just your view on that.
No, I think I may not be the right person to answer this question. Maybe the tech team could take it forward. I just feel, from whatever understanding I have, I feel as a society per se, I mean, I'm calling this society, we are a part of healthcare now. IT is a part of healthcare. I'm trying to cross over towards healthcare IT because I feel maybe I can also add a lot of value. The thing, it starts from the basic. Everyone is cribbing about budget. Getting into the organization which has challenges right from infrastructure supply to budget support to NABH norms. I'm an NABH assessor. I find the same challenge. I'm willing to do a peer review on PACS. I don't need a film or a paper, but I think it's time for us to look beyond HIMS to basically formulate or regulate. I have two criticisms in this whole discussion. I don't know how it is taken, but I think we all need to adapt to this kind of behavior. Like how Diners Card, Visa Card, and MasterCard, they control the whole transaction. Why can't we create our own norms, guidelines, and dictate our own terms? Why do we have to run pillar to post to get things approved? Second, why are we not collaborating together rather than in individual space? I think we are all looking at the Oracles and the Microsoft of the world to tell us how to run digital health in our country. Uh, Somebody pointed out we should talk about the NDHM sandbox. I have a big constraint and a pain point with NDHM. It's a great thing. It doesn't talk about training workforce. I stopped my case there itself. I mean, everyone who's setting up, I'm sure Anurup, Manish, Mitali, Nilesh, where do you find your workforce? In hospital IT, you are a CIO, you are sitting on top. Right below you, you have IT people. Nobody from STEM background comes and joins us. Nobody from the healthcare background comes and says, I want to be a part of the team. So I think unless and until we create that confidence, bringing in cloud, core, multi, hybrid cloud, anything right from edge computing, it's not going to work. We're going to keep talking big things, give big visions, but it's not going to work. And I think it's right now very fractured. Everyone wants to be on the digital health mission, but we don't have the bandwidth. We all focus on bandwidth. We are not talking about the core problems. The core problem is, are we going to sit down as a CIO community, lay down a framework and saying, this is the way it's going to function? Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. I'm sure everyone will fall in line.
No, interesting. I mean, you specifically mentioned about the challenges associated with the skill sets itself. I mean, we have dwelled it earlier, but maybe Mitali, your view. I mean, I would also tend to agree, and this is my own personal experience that I have faced. On one hand, we say that health tech and healthcare is one of the sunshine sectors of the industry, but it's very difficult to actually excite a smart background person or a smart chap to come and work inside a hospital sector. I mean, there would be multiple reasons. I mean, as somebody pointed out, the margins of the hospital itself is low, so there is always a pressure. IT is always seen as a cost center. I mean, and that dilemma I don't foresee going, at least in the near future. So the all stress is on hiring the best of the doctors and clinicians and justify the salary. But to justify a salary of even a network engineer, a CIO might have to create a business case. So that's a huge challenge, which is also part of this entire digital infrastructure development. I mean, your view, since you must have interacted with a lot of stakeholders in this regard.
Right. So it's not only the budget, it is also the size of the team, right? So when you go and ask for it, why do you need such a big team in IT? Just operations, you don't need such a big team in IT. So it is not only the budget, the size of the team is also a question mark all the time. To get one person on your team, it requires a lot of conviction, going from pillar to post, convincing them, yes, I need, why do you need it, what is the job description, what he will do. So in a lot of those things, and I also feel there should be a little bit of bandwidth available. I mean, if the IT team is always running pillar to post, when will they think? So and they also need to learn. Not everybody comes with learning everything, because the technology is changing so fast. I mean, all of us are learning. With what we started our career, those technologies are obsolete now. So we are learning day by day. So definitely getting skill sets are very difficult. Even if you get the budget, you get one person, retaining them is the next question mark. You groom them 6 months, 1 year, they're out, because IT's market is booming. We all know. So retaining is also a problem. So I think to look at this problem, we also need to rely on the correct partnerships. You will not get all the skills. One, it is difficult to get. The salaries are high. You will not be able to retain. So you need to make the right partnerships, with the right partners, with the ecosystem, such that you can get skills that you need. And it's only not one partner. Probably there has to be multiple partners. You need to have a cloud partner, maybe somebody from development teams with different skill set. Because I don't think it is a permanent solution that we get all the right skills in the IT team. We'll never be able to get it. So for me, I am trying to solve the problem with the right kind of partnerships in place, and have at least core people in the team who kind of understand the whole healthcare business and the basics of technology. So we can interact and get the right output from the partnerships that we make.
I'm just wondering if there is any question that is being passed on. So I just need to check with the host if there is any question from the audience. We would be happy to take that. Else, we can continue. The time is limited, but the topic is endless. So just checking with the host if there is any question that specifically is there. So now, just a little view on the skilling of the workforce. I mean, we have talked about the challenges associated with it. I mean, we all mentioned that the expectation that IT should train on the newer technology itself is a self-defeating perception. But I think with newer and newer solutions and technologies which is coming in, and with the challenge that IT folks are not upskilled themselves, I mean, this is again a Herculean task that the organization, the leadership will face in the coming days. Now, I have not got any question as of now. So there's one point, and I'll leave it open to anyone who wants to answer. I mean, there are some new kind of a technology or solutions that are there in some of the newer hospitals, but not in all the established hospitals. Something like, say, digital pathology, digital radiology. I mean, talking of, what is your view? Means anyone can answer. I mean, do you think bioinformatics, genomics, these kind of terms and solutions? Because mostly we have been hearing this only in the life sciences research arena, but they are now part and parcel. I mean, they will become part and parcel of a digital strategy of organization. So, anybody's views on this? Maybe Avinash, if you can take.
I think we're talking about skilling workforce. The lacuna is the budget is across every organization. Even HR has a budget how to recruit a workforce. I mean, everyone has a budget, right from head of nursing to consultants. I think we need to understand is we have to be at the forefront of talking to the HR that in the next 5 years, I'm going to scale up the hospital on the digital forefront in digital pathology, maybe digital radiology, EMR. You need to go back and forth and then start looking at the pool of talent that you have who can cross function, multitask, and also the new hiring people has to have some kind of a digital savviness when they come to the organization. Sheetal Ranganathan is one of very beautiful article on the workforce of the future. She calls them technique clinicals. These are the people who are technical and clinical skill set, which are like the bioinformaticians. And I think we need to sit together and lay down this framework. Absolutely, it has to start with us. We cannot give a JD to a person who's going to work in healthcare IT. There is no JD here. The JD has to be written as the person matures. And I think the first question, if I have to apply to work with, say, Mitali or Anurup, I'm going to say, what's your digital vision for the hospital? Am I going to grow in this organization, or am I going to fix cabling and I'm going to fix mouse not working kind of calls and close tickets? I think the workforce of the hospital also gives me the ability that am I going to have a future and career here? So I think it all starts with understanding how do you create a path, and we have to create that path. And then we need to basically sit together and say, we're just sitting and certifying each other, right? Okay, I'm a CIO or I'm a CTO. I think we need to look at whether who are the people going to work below us. It could be a nurse, it could be a doctor, it could be a bioinformatician, it could be a data scientist. I think we need to look at the long, there is a huge tail of this dinosaur, and it's going to be there. It's going to change healthcare. We all know that, and it could be from insurance sector. So I think the lesser said, the better. But yeah, I just want to tickle everybody's appetite and bring out that angst that what do we need to make this better? It's just infrastructure and it's people also.
Yeah. No, interesting. I also just want to dwell on one of the crude reality is, even though we are talking of the newer solutions, the newer probably technologies which are coming into the play, but that's a reality that healthcare is one of the slowest adopters. I mean, inherently very resistant to change, and now we are probably, I mean, I jokingly say in our hospital that this pandemic actually has forced in a year time frame what we could have achieved probably at least in a decade, if not more. So now looking at the challenge which is associated, and we were faced with some unforeseen scenario that we changed for good. I mean, pretty fast, but otherwise it's not that easy. I mean, cost is one part, but the mindset, I mean, the way the hospital, the healthcare has worked, that is very difficult to break. Maybe Manish, your view in terms of the challenges associated with such sort of a technology adoption, because we are talking of adding new kind of technologies, new silos, and getting into this ecosystem. But there is a challenge. So how do you foresee that? How will this pan up, and who are the stakeholders who would be managing this?
Uh, in a terms of technology challenges, I'll take one simple example with the blood bank machine integration. Suppose blood bank has basically introduced some kind of advanced machine in our hospital. They have introduced basically new model based machine which was supposed to be integrated with our HIS, and we were facing a lot of challenges with the integration part. We were not having same type of a configuration with us to integrate with our outdated infrastructure. So normally what we have just done as a IT side, we have developed on a API, separate API to integrate with the machine integration. And as a internal IT team, internal IT software engineers, they have created API on a a database side. We have integrated with the machine, and we have just taken an information from the machine and integrate with the HIS. Some sort of challenges day by day we are facing with the machine integration also, with the biomedical equipments also. And the major impact that kind of upgradation, we have outdated devices, network devices also. We have almost 10 years past devices with us. We have outdated servers also. So normally we need to introduce a hybrid solution. How we can just collaborate with the newer technology and older technology to help us and to reduce cost also with the help of kind of technology. So currently, how we are doing, we are managing to provide unit based model. We are providing some sort of uh, we are creating a APIs, separate APIs. We are creating a separate web based solution and integrating with our existing HIs. So these kind of integration, we are providing somehow to overcome our challenges, day to day challenges with hospital. And meanwhile we have stepped up to upgrade our infrastructure. Management has agreed to upgrade our infrastructure. They know that how important it is today's now to upgrade infrastructure. So similarly, in a phase manner, we will definitely opt some kind of best solution where we can upgrade our infrastructure with the very quick time, because we cannot spend 2 or 3 years or 1 years on our upgradation part, because it's really a very cost situation where management doesn't even allow us to do any kind of time taking processes in a healthcare manner. So we will have to just implement our system with a parallel manner, where we can implement newer technology as well as we have to take a old technology also. So these are the challenges we are facing in this hospital currently.
Sure. Now, when we're talking of a digital kind of infrastructure, and maybe I'll restrict the question to Anirudh or Nilesh, any one of you, because you are part of the organization which run multiple hospitals. How do you see, or do you see an opportunity to monetize some of the investment that you do, or you have already done in the digitization of some of the work that you're doing? So, I mean, I just want to give you an example. I mean, a company like Siemens Healthcare, they buy a system, an organization like Variant. I mean, and a lot of the value is being attributed to the data which the organization carries, and there are opportunities. So, I mean, in your experience, have you seen those kind of opportunities, or do you see these opportunities? And maybe once you answer that, Avinash or Mikali can also just interject on that point.
So, Amit, as you mentioned, there is a slow adoption in the healthcare industry. I want to give an answer to first. Dr. Avinash has also
Yeah.
asked for a framework by the technology person. Then we can come to the benefit which you have achieved. In a healthcare, typically, if I ask for adoption, there is a three stakeholder completely. One is a healthcare provider, a hospital. Second is a doctor, and the third is a doctor and user. My nurse is my technician, and third is my patient. Hospital is always worried about the fact that my profitability should not be reduced. I want to have an ROI with any of the expenses. We see a trend. Doctor is also worried for the digital adoption. They think about it. They might lose the patient if they go for a digital. If they go here for a, like if they upload the PACS data or a radiology data or a lab data to other service provider or the other hospital, they might lose the patient. That's a major concern for the clinician, and also the third part is the patient who want to have a better services, complete end-to-end flow. We mentioned about the end-to-end flow is the circle doesn't get complete. The second phase, it will come at second phase. In a pack, if I ask for a clinician part, they said okay, they want to do a reporting on the packs part, they want to have a digital reporting. However, they said oh, I mentioned a wrong report. I didn't want to get validated through the digital part. In an earlier stage, they said, okay, we mention a word, they can change it out without any knowledge. So that's the three part which I think the digital adoption have to come from all the three parts. It's from the hospital also. Hospital should give a budget. They should say a ROI. The second part is the doctor and the end user forces. They should not worried about their job loss. They should be getting another job. And the third part is the solution should be patient centric. For example, if I made a chat bot for the patient who talk only in English and the regional language is not there, if I put a regional language, the improvement will definitely be there. The third part, the mentioned question you mentioned about the ROI, yes, we achieve certain ROI. For example, if I ask for a digital prescription. Doctor is right now noting a piece of paper. If I put in a digital pad, the doctor use the same prescription pad. They push a button, the WhatsApp will goes to the clinicians and to a counselor. They get an admission call, sir. Doctor had advised you. How can I help you out? The high-end test can be ordered. Pharmacy can goes over there. So yes, we had achieved that part.
Sure. So there's one question from the audience. Let's try and take it, and maybe Mitali or Dr. Avinash, either of you, if you just want to share your view, means how do these digital innovations conform to the medico-legal regulations of today? Interesting part. So Mitali, maybe to start with.
Yeah. So this, this medico-legal thing, I see a lot of, this is also a challenge for adoption, I would say, because when I talk to the clinicians, they have a fear, that if I do this technically and if the system, there's a whole audit trail maintained, and if there is a medico-legal case, how does it work? So, and with this digital thing, the legalities or the laws have not, changed, which with respect to the digital solutions. So I think a lot of clarity is needed on that front from the government or the legal bodies to be very clear. Those laws are not very clear. A question that you were also earlier asking about this monetization. So data is a new oil. But, the challenge I see whenever I go to the management, no, we will not share our data. There are legal, aspects to it. So, our legal team makes sure that they put it in the agreement that our data will not be shared for anything else other than the purpose that we use. So I feel, there's a lot of unclarity still in the, medical legal laws with respect to the technology that has been advancing. So this has to be looked into parallelly. So as the digital solutions are coming into this space, the government and the legal bodies also need to adopt the laws or change the laws to adopt, to these, and it has to be made clear to everybody.
No, thanks. Maybe Avinash, just last bit from you on this point, and then we'll leave it to Rajneesh to close the session.
Yeah, I think I can only add on. I may not be a legal expert here, but I think it's the right for education of patient on their rights and their data privacy. I think for everyone who's doing any healthcare innovation on digital platform, and I'm speaking from the hospital sector, I think we need to revise our consent forms. We cannot imply that just because I'm providing a telehealth service, I have the consent of the patient if he's not made aware. So I think if we just make that first change of taking consent, and we can put a disclaimer, like every pharmaceutical company puts a disclaimer, because personal protection, privacy law is very important. I think this is a larger topic for discussion in another forum, but as long as we protect ourselves by taking consent, I think it's good enough.
Sure. No, I think many organizations, including my own organization, I mean, since we are comparatively a very newer setup and managed by promoters who have been part of the entire clinical research industry, they have taken a step towards that, what Avinash has mentioned. But I think in totality, industry has to think about it. So that brings us to the time and really thank each and everyone for sharing your views on the pertinent topic. So now I probably hand over to Rajneesh just to make any of the concluding comments, or if there is anything that he wants to share. Over to you, Rajneesh.
Thank you, Amit, and really thanks to all the panelists for such an interactive discussion on the digital infrastructure in healthcare and sort of outlining the roadmap ahead. I'm sure, at least for the 300 plus audiences which have been watching these live, some best practices have sort of emerged from this discussion, and some of these practices they can successfully deploy in their hospitals and other healthcare institutions. Thanks to all the panelists for such a fruitful discussion. The first panel discussion in the second APAC Health Tech Innovation Conclave. And thanks to all panelists again. And all of you, wishing all of you a good day ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you, Dr. Avinash. Thank Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Amit.
Nilesh. Thank you, Manish.